Friends, we got a lot of stuff coming right at us. There's a lot of concerns that we have. I hear a lot from you guys. I know you guys are really watching this election very closely. If you're in the United States, other countries, you're watching elections, you're watching protests happening, and you got a lot of concerns. You're watching the food shortages like we are, and we're all kind of considering where is it going to pop off next. But friends, we need to also consider the fact that we may not see it even coming. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about just kind of some of the things I'm seeing out there generally that I'm hearing from you guys. We're going to brush up on some of these topics that we don't talk about very often, just to make sure that you are at least having them on your radar of things that could pop off. Some of them are a little bit more unlikely, but we'll also talk about the big ones as well and any updates. So hopefully this will get you up to speed. If you haven't been watching every single video on this channel, this will kind of give you a broad brush, my big understanding of kind of what I'm pulling in data-wise and what you guys are passing along to me. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and this is aggregated from a lot of data out there on news websites and what you guys are passing along. So let's start off. Big items out there, of course, World War III. We're seeing just a lot of tension, a lot of hostilities in Eastern Europe. We're seeing a lot of these European countries and some of the authorities in Washington, D.C. chomping at the bit to send troops in or do something stupid. They've just some of the European allies have just taken the leash off of their long-range missiles. Ukraine is now allowed to use those to target Moscow directly. That's a big deal. The United States has not yet given them that authority to go ahead, but UK and Germany have gone, yeah, sure, go ahead, use our weapons for whatever you want. And you know what Ukraine wants to do is they want to target the bald guy, right, over there. They want to take him out. So, they're not really stopping to ask the question of what happens if that happens, or what happens if they get close, or what happens if they try and they fail. Yeah. Belarus is moving troops to their southern border and the northern border of that country in the Eastern Europe. And we've just started observing them putting cope cages on. So the big cages that they're putting over top of the tanks to make sure that drones can't drop stuff down the hatch and can't come in and fly in and go kablooey on them. Those cope cages are getting put on those vehicles. Why would you be doing that? Unless you're getting ready to go into conflict, right? That is a concern. It looks like Belarus may be getting ready to do something. If they come across that border, well, let's just say the war in Eastern Europe would suddenly change real fast. They would either start collapsing immediately, or we may see the Poles bolt across that border. If the Polish army enters into the Eastern European country and enters the conflict directly to counteract Belarus, what happens next? I don't know. But there's a bunch of countries in Eastern Europe that would be all about that. Would that trigger Article 5? Kind of not. I don't know. But then again, when there's a war thrown, people have a tendency to show up even if they're not even invited. So anyway, we're watching that closely. There's a lot of stuff going on over there, a lot of moving parts. Belarus has nuclear weapons, Russian nuclear weapons. So who has operational control over those? We don't know. So then we got Israel and Iran and Turkey heating things up. We were talking about that the last couple days. Turkey looks like it's just basically stabbing NATO in the back and switching sides and switching parties to Brics and basically Team ISIS. So that's really concerning, since they have a really big military and because they control the Bosphorus Strait. Can't get into the Black Sea without going through Turkey. And, well, Turkey is really, really upset at Greece, and they're basically shooting at each other whenever they get a chance. And so we got 2 NATO countries shooting at each other, which I don't even know. It's crazy. So we got that going on. China, of course, is nice and quiet over there, but it's making eyes at Taiwan. And with the United States very busy elsewhere, making more eyes at Taiwan. We're approaching the optimal season for invasion of Taiwan for this fall, October, basically. So the closer we get there, the more likely an operation could potentially take place there. Do they want to take it before they get the new president? I mean, they're going to get a new president either way. And, the Wicked Witch of the West, or Special K, or whatever you want to call her, she would probably be a little more attentive than the resident right now, And the resident may or may not do anything about anything. So they may want to try to pull that off before the end of the year. So if they do, October sounds like it might actually be the time to do it. They are definitely doing maneuvers. They keep flying aircraft all around Taiwan, and they are basically doing dry run attack runs, encircling movements all around the island on a daily basis. If you keep track of that, and that's the thing, is nobody's tracking it because it just happens every single day. What happens when one day it's not a drill anymore and it's an actual attack? Will Taiwan respond in time? I don't know. So we got World War III cooking off up there. We got 3 diseases that we're watching right now. We got Mpox clade 1B, which is completely different than the Mpox that's been going around the United States. Okay, we have one clade 1B case in the United States last I checked, but it's much more contagious. And it's contagious to people who aren't rainbow flag people, okay? So it is spreading from touch, contact, and even droplets from mouth. So someone can cough on you and you can get it. Someone can use the same toilet seat and you can get it. Okay, so this is more contagious. So we got that going on out there. We got the bird flu that we just had one case, was it Missouri, that apparently they can't find an animal that they may have gotten it from. So this person is a person who does not live with cats or something. I don't know. But they think it might be human-human transfer. That's a big change. Human-human transfer is a big deal because that has not been jumping from human to human. Numbers from the bird flu out there are still very, very weighted by people who don't receive very good medical care overseas. Very limited cases actually being reported. The mortality rate is technically high, so there is concerns about that. But the more people who have been getting it directly from animals have not really been getting very sick. So the mortality rate is dropping dramatically as time goes on. So it's becoming less of a threat, but technically speaking, they're still worried that this thing could become the next big thing. And then, of course, we got the cough going around, right? There's a whole bunch more hospitalizations happening because of that. A lot of people are getting sick again. People with pre-existing conditions are being impacted pretty negatively by this. We're getting masks reappearing in hospitals, schools, and all that kind of stuff like that. Even with people who have 9 of these, they still need some help, right? So we got all that happening out there, and then we got a couple other little tiny ones like was that West Nile virus popping up? I mean, didn't Fauci get that or something like that? Crazy. I may have gotten that one wrong. Whatever it was, it's not really a big concern. All right, so we got the pandemic kind of situations kind of covered. What else we got going on there? Food shortage wise, we are seeing pretty good harvests. We're seeing a couple of crops having problems. We're seeing potatoes having problems out there. We're still too early to really definitively say anything on those things. We're going to see as that rolls in. what the numbers actually look like. We do have some stockpile from last year, so we shouldn't have any acute shortages where it really punches us in the face, except on Robusta coffee beans, olive oil. Those are big shortages out there. We're still having industrial issues with vinegar or acetic acid because it is industrially used as acetic acid, and they can use the grain to make vinegar that they then use for industrial applications, which shorts the food side of things. That's the reason why we have problems out there. It's not because people are canning more stuff. Like, they can make vinegar super easy. The problem is that the industrial side is using so much of it, and they have the chemical refineries are not able to produce enough of that. So it's really a refinery issue. Anyway, in addition to that, we are having issues with dairy out there. We got the eggs. We got apparently bad feed out there that has caused recent problems. Also, potentially some cullings happening under the radar that the government's not reporting, which is concerning. So we got egg issues out there. You guys are experiencing that. Same thing with the milk and stuff like that. Is any of these things going to really cause a trigger change? Probably not, unless something goes absolutely crazy. Supply chain distribution, we definitely have problems there. And one targeted hack against a critical supply chain out there could really cause a ripple effect that would really devastate. If the Walmart distribution network gets taken down for a couple of days, we'll be in a world of hurt. If Kroger's does, if any one of these big suppliers that supplies these grocery chains, if McDonald's ordering and delivery systems get taken offline and they can't compensate very quickly, that could cause chaos very quickly. Big one, earthquake, potential, possible. The Yellowstone super volcano could blow up and, do stuff. That's always a possibility. Unlikely, but possible. We got potentially other earthquakes in other places, possible. Devastating hurricane, that's pretty likely compared to other things, right? There could be a devastating hurricane before the hurricane season is over. It's been really quiet. Some would say too quiet, right? But actually, the fact that no storms have developed really shows that because of what's going on out there in the Atlantic, it's really getting kind of quiet. We have had some storms over in Asia, so it's not like the world is quiet. It's just the Atlantic Ocean is not spitting out storms right now. So that could continue, or it could reverse, and we could get a storm. Don't count out the possibility of a storm before the end of the hurricane season. Those are kind of the big weather things out there. We could get hit by a solar storm, electromagnetic. That could definitely do us real harm. We are going into the solar maximum right now, so the sun is popping off. There was just one the other day that was spectacular, and luckily for us, heading the wrong way. If that thing had been heading toward us, we would have been talking about a Carrington event. In fact, we wouldn't be talking about it. Those of us who have some stuff in Faraday cages, afterwards would be talking about it with people who also had stuff in Faraday cages, but the rest of you guys would not be talking with us at all. So that was just it went that way instead of this way. If it went this way, all of our lights would have been out. Everything would have been fried. Okay, so the sun is spitting this out in different directions, and all it takes is just boom, and we get unlucky on that one. Yeah. So please have long-range communications in Faraday cages so that we can rebuild society together if everything gets fried. Major hacking attacks, cyber attacks is similar, or EMP. EMP is also possible out there. Cyber attacks, a massive cyber attack that takes out not just distribution networks, but also takes out any kind of power networks, those type of things. That is a real concern. We got Russian hackers apparently attacking a whole bunch of stuff right now. That's what we're being told, but we're not really being told all that much. So that's definitely a concern we should be considering. Lights could go out and not come back on. The greenifying of the United States power grid, including the greenifying of the European power grid, is making the power grids more unstable and less able to compensate when there is a crisis. So extreme weather event can crash the Texas power grid, can crash the Eastern interconnect, can crash the Western states interconnect. They just keep taking power plants offline and replacing them with unreliable renewable energy. So that's happening. We got all those things out there. Of course, let me know down in the comments down below if there's any that I missed that we should be talking about more. Some of you are you're keeping up with lots and lots of stuff out there, and you're seeing some threats on the horizon. But of course, we got the financial system could collapse at any time. I would put that at extremely highly likely, and this month stock market crash, I think, is base case. Of course, the collapse of the dollar, that's just happening. We're just describing it. It's happening. The Brics coming online to replace the dollar, that's happening. It's just a matter of time. How long will it take? Brics meet the 22nd through the 24th of October. So that conference is going to happen. How many countries are going to jump ship over to that? We'll see. I think that nuclear war kind of goes in with the World War III scenarios. That could turn nuclear very, very fast. We could be seeing a surprise attack on the United States or other Western powers. Nukes could be over our heads before we even know what's happening. Once again, to kind of remind you of that, if that happens, it's probably going to be targeting military bases, nuclear facilities, not nuke power plants, nuclear weapons, right? Command and control sites. If you're near Washington, D.C.'s Pentagon, sorry. If you're near Cheyenne Mountain, sorry. If you're near command and control sites, even long-range radars and long-range communication sites for the submarines, those may be targets as well. If you're anywhere near the Minuteman missile sites out in the Midwest, those are almost certainly going to get hit and hit hard. A lot of those strikes will throw up a lot of radioactive dust. Don't be downwind. If you are, make sure you stay underground and, or at least at the very center of your home as long and as quickly. Stay there for quite a while. Okay. Those are kind of the main threats that we're seeing right now. We got the election coming up, of course. So civil war. And all the chaos that could go with that, protests, isolated incidents of violence. We got the invasion. We got that happening too, kind of domestically. Those are the broad brush strokes out there. Fill me in on things that I'm missing, or maybe I should have mentioned. Probably some that just slipped my mind for some reason or another, but also some things that you guys could maybe chime in. That we should be more concerned about. All right, friends, thanks so much for being part of this community and being assistants to each other and making this a great avenue to share information from each other and make sure that we are having the conversations that we need to be having. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report.